In this video, I'm going to share with you 3 healthy habits that help me to stay fit and actually also help me to lose weight in the past. Hi, my name is Ivana and I live in Bangalore. Recently, I put up one of those Q&A stickers on my Instagram, and one of the most asked questions was, how do you stay so healthy and fit, and what are your tips for weight loss? In this video, I'm getting into that, and without further ado, let's get into healthy habit number 1. Calorie restriction. Hold up, wait a minute. I know how controversial this sounds, but I promise you there are non-controversial ways of calorie restriction. First, let me just explain to you why this is important. I first embarked on a healthy food fitness journey when I was 25 years old. It was the first time in my life that my metabolism started to slow down, and I noticed that my body was changing because my clothes started to get quite tight. One of the first things that I learned when reading up more on fitness and healthy habits was that 80% of your body or your figure is determined by the food that you eat, and only 20% is determined by how much you exercise. When they say you can't out-exercise a bad diet, it's really true, because in the world that we live in, the processed foods that are available sometimes contain so many calories that it's just physically impossible for you to work off all of those excess calories. That's why I'm saying calorie restriction, because managing the food that you eat is really the easiest way to stay healthy and to stay fit. And one of my favorite non-controversial ways of calorie restriction is clean eating. Clean eating basically means that you stick to as much unprocessed foods as possible. For me personally, it was impossible to stick to a 100% clean eating diet. It would mean that I would never get to eat cake anymore, because cake is a processed food. No. I love my cake. So I'm very happy to stick to a balance of 80% clean eating and 20% processed foods whenever I feel like it. I had a period in my life when I was super strict about this, and I would eat clean, like super clean for 6 days in a week, and then one day I would have a YOLO day. But with the travel that I was doing in the past few years, that was almost impossible to keep up with. So I eat a little bit more intuitive these days. Clean eating is not that difficult. There are not that many rules, because you just stick to as many unprocessed foods as possible, and unprocessed foods means as many vegetables as possible, as many unprocessed proteins as possible. I do eat white rice because my body doesn't mind that at all, even though it's a processed food. But bread, for instance, pasta, pizza, those kind of things, my body does not like those foods at all. I can also immediately notice my body getting upset when I eat too many processed foods. My stomach will just start to hurt if I eat too much pasta or too much bread or too much pizza. If I eat too much cake, my body really doesn't like that. That's something that I really noticed when I started to eat clean a lot more, the impact that processed foods had on my body, and it's not a pleasant feeling. So for me, it's not that difficult to stick to a mostly unprocessed foods diet. If this is a little bit too loose for you and you need a little bit more guidelines on what healthy foods are, I would definitely recommend an app that my friend introduced me to about 2 years ago. The app is called MyFitnessPal, and basically you can keep a food diary in there, where the app keeps track of all your calories and all of the foods that you have eaten in a day. I like the fact that the app also keeps track of the nutrients, so you can see how much, for instance, carbs you are eating on a day, how much proteins you are eating in a day, how many fibers you are getting in a day. I really like it. The biggest learning from this app was not necessarily the amount of calories that I was consuming, but portion control. Oh my goodness. Let me give you an example. I love besan chilla. Besan chilla is a savory gram flour pancake that's very common here in India. I used to have 6 of those for lunch because I can't eat a lot. When I entered besan chilla in the MyFitnessPal app, oh my goodness, the calories. I think it's about 170 calories per chilla, so per pancake, and I was just eating way too big portions for my length and my weight. When I switched back to, I think, 2 chillas per lunch, I wasn't hungry after my lunch. It was just that my portions were based on just eat as much as possible instead of thinking what is a healthy portion size. So that's one of the biggest things that I learned from that app, and therefore I would definitely recommend you, because once you start looking into portion sizes, that's where you also see how easy it is to do non-controversial calorie restriction. Sometimes you just end up eating way too many calories because your plate is too big, or because you're just used to eating a certain amount of food when it's really not even that necessary for you to eat that much food. So 1010 would recommend that app if you would like a little bit more guidelines on healthy eating. The second healthy habit, of course, is exercise. But I have a huge learning here that I would like to share with you, because saying, oh, you should just work out 5 days in a week is too generic and a one-size-fits-all solution, which will not work at all. I personally found that out the hard way, because the first exercise type that I started when I embarked on my fitness journey when I was 25 years old was running. I signed up for this competition where I would have to run 10 English miles, and I had never run that big of a distance in my life. So I spent about 7 to 8 months of that year training for that competition. Once that competition was over, I never ran a mile in my life. What I found out during those 7-8 months of running training was that I really despise running. It is way too much dependent on weather conditions. When it's too cold or rainy, running is really unpleasant. When it's too hot, running is really unpleasant. So for me to do that on a daily or a weekly or a monthly basis is just too much hassle. I also had a couple of injuries during that time, and I found out how easy it is to get really long-lasting and maintaining injuries with running. So I was like, nah. I need to find better solutions if I want to keep exercising with something that I do truly enjoy. And that is the number one learning that I got through that journey. If you want to keep exercising on a regular basis, and on a regular basis, I really mean 5 to 7 days a week, which I do now, you need to find something that you really enjoy doing. One of the things that I found out that I really enjoy doing is walking. Nowadays, I walk for an hour a day, 5 days a week, and it's not difficult for me to do at all because I really enjoy it. Even when the weather is bad, actually, I don't even mind going for a walk because I can take an umbrella with me. You can't do that with running. Have you ever tried running with an umbrella? That's not gonna work. But walking in an umbrella, that totally works. Also, I found out that I really enjoy yoga. I found out that I enjoy it so much that I actually did a yoga teacher training, which was life-changing. And nowadays, I do yoga 2 times a week. Basically, I am exercising 7 days a week, but mostly I will do yoga and go for a walk on one day. So it's not exercising on a daily basis. Sometimes I will just exercise twice on one day. I personally also really love hiking, and also I found out that I like weightlifting. I used to go to the gym a lot, like 5 days a week when I used to work in the corporate world. It was an amazing way for me to stay in shape while having, a sitting profession. The reason why I really like lifting weights is because it doesn't make me sweat as much as cardio. I hate sweating. I barely sweat anyways, but cardio will really make me sweat, which is why I don't like any cardio sports. It's just not for me. That whole sweating thing, I don't like it. But weightlifting, I don't sweat that much, and it's really nice to feel strong. So I hope the gyms actually open up soon and I can maybe start weightlifting again. But until that time, I will keep walking and I will keep doing yoga. If you haven't found an exercise type that you still like, I would just recommend you to keep trying new things until you find something that sticks. In my experience, I actually loved the exercise types that I'm doing from day one. So when you find something, I don't think it will take you a long time to understand how much you like it, but you do need to experiment with different things to find out what works for you. Really, the most important thing with exercise that I've found out is that you really enjoy it. To conclude with healthy habit number 3, I've actually not even been doing this too long, but just like with exercise, it was something that I started doing and it instantly clicked that oh, I really like it. It is intermittent fasting. I think I've been doing intermittent fasting now for about a year and a half, and it took me 3 to 6 months to actually adjust to it. In case you don't know, intermittent fasting is basically just restricting your eating to a set limited time for a day. A very common way of intermittent fasting is eating for 8 hours a day and then not eating for 16 hours a day. For me personally, it means that I will have my first meal of the day around 2 p.m. and my last meal will be the latest at 10 p.m. Initially, right now also, it means that I am skipping breakfast, which was a biggie for me because mentally I was very attached to breakfast. Breakfast used to be my favorite meal of the day, but actually it turned out that it was more of a mental attachment than my body actually needing it, because when I was adjusting during those first 3 to 6 months, I noticed that my body wasn't even that hungry in the morning. It was just mentally I was looking forward so much to breakfast, and that made it a little bit more difficult for me. But once I let that go, there was no issue with skipping breakfast at all. The two main benefits that convinced me to try intermittent fasting in the first place was that it's a very natural way of calorie restriction. I mean, there's only so much food that you can actually eat within the span of 8 hours, definitely less than you would eat in the normal 12 hours that you are awake. The other thing that also really made sense for me, and it's kind of also attached to the yoga philosophy of the yoga teacher training that I did, your body is not meant to constantly digest food. Your body needs rest. Normally, when you eat 3 meals a day, your body is actually spending so much time and energy throughout the day digesting that food, and it never really gets a break or the energy to allocate to other functions that in your body that might need that energy as well. By doing intermittent fasting, you're actually giving your body a set time when you are eating certain meals, but there's also enough downtime for your body to allocate some energy on other functions in your body that are not digestion, and actually also start burning energy from fat. Next to the physical functions, the main benefit is also that you really get some clarity of mind during the fasting period. That was the thing that instantly got me hooked on intermittent fasting, because I also remember the fasts that I did during my yoga teacher training. It's incredible the clarity that you get during a fast, which makes you so much more focused but also so much more peaceful, and I got that instantly from intermittent fasting as well. Ever since I've been doing intermittent fasting, my mornings have been so much more peaceful. It has been easier for me to focus. So I think those were the benefits that got me hooked on the most. Yeah, I think this is also the reason why I tend to stick to the healthy habits that I like the most. They tend to give me a clarity of mind and a certain peace in my life, whether it's, eating more healthy foods or doing the exercises that I love, which have quite some meditative capacities, or doing intermittent fasting, which actually also gives me more clarity and peace in my life. So at the end of the day, for me, that's the main reason to stick to those habits. And I hope by sharing this with you, you might explore some of them as well and experience that too. Do you have a favorite habit that helps you to stay healthy and maybe even lose some weight? Let me know down in the comments below, because I really love learning from you guys as well. If you enjoyed this video and if it was helpful, make sure to put a thumbs up. Also, you can consider subscribing to my channel and joining more than 1,800 subscribers. It's free and you'll get a notification whenever I post a new video, so then I can see you again. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!